cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here. What's up everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I gotta give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Our league, check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
And best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down, cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right, cause I roll my sleeves up.
What up? What up? What up, world? It's me, Rasta and Frank here, and this is Get Right Fantasy Network. It's Monday, July 29th. That means there's only 38 more days until week one kicks off. It's only 38 more days, man. Wow. And we're only 2 days away from now from first preseason action, albeit
say less.
Albeit it is the Hall of Fame game, but hey, it's still just just to wet
football.
Our tongue, wet the whistle, so to speak, right?
Let's get it.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Are you excited, Ant? I'm over here. I'm here with my guy Anthony, aka Rasta, who didn't get any chance to introduce you here.
It's all good, man. I need no introduction. It's all good. It's your world. I'm just living in it. We got Albert in the house, man. Say what's up to Albert.
What up,
over me. I don't need introduction. We're just good to go here, man. I can't wait to just talk some football, bro. I'm getting like so excited. It's not even close.
Really?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Tonight we're going over a draft strategy for Superflex. That's 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, full PPR. So we're going to be breaking down the rosters and the construction, and just kind of, just doing a recap on it, see what we like, what we think is going to work. But those, Anthony, for those of the new to the channel, tell them what we're doing here this off season.
Yeah, for sure, man. So during the off season, of course, we get into our dynasty content. We do our dynasty mocks, early on in May. June, we kind of shift to that Scott Fishbowl focus, which Frank, your first year. Congratulations. So Classic and I are going on for our second and third year, respectively. Then we, of course, when the page turned to July, we started getting our redraft focus here. So that's what we were doing. This is the last of the mocks that we'll be breaking down, because here in August, we will be doing and have started as of tonight our first qualifying round of the mock draft tournament of champions. Got underway today. From now through August 30th, when we have the finale, when we'll have the best of the best drafters. I'll let you get into that a little bit later. But that's what we do. Yeah, so that's what we'll be doing on Friday nights, streaming those drafts, the semifinal rounds. But yeah, so again, this is the last one here in July, man. We were alternating between one quarterback Superflex, like you said. Tonight's going to be a Superflex that we'll break down. And then basically on Mondays here, we'll be announcing the winners or the folks that have advanced from that semifinal round onto the finale. And of course, we'll get into just more breakdowns. We'll do some best ball. We'll be breaking down that semifinal round mock. So we'll still be doing breakdowns and giving grades here on Mondays. And then of course Wednesdays, we couldn't get to it last Wednesday. Life does happen every once in a while. But our goal is this Wednesday. It looks like a Best Ball Mania 5 might be in order here, Frank.
We got to.
So we got to be ready for that one here on Wednesday.
Here's the way I'm looking at it. This is literally the last anything. Wednesday would be to have a best ball done before any kind of preseason happens. I know it's still just a Hall of Fame game, but still, you get to see some guys out there or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then beyond that,
value might go like this or that, depending on what we see, or maybe somebody gets hurt, or who knows.
Drastically.
Yeah, who knows?
Especially after this first week of preseason games, that's all going to go Willy Wonka. So I want to get one in, or at least a couple. I'm trying to get a couple in the next couple days. Might as well get into the read about that, right? I mean,
for sure. It's all about the mock draft, man.
We got the mock draft tournament as well. But that's coming up here. So as we go on
the other
read. That's what I meant.
There you go.
The underdog here.
What makes this happen?
Exactly. What pays the bills here is underdogfantasy.com here. So you got to go join us. there. We got the best ball that we were just talking about. It's easiest place to play any fantasy sports, and which they also have, aside from football, they got just about every other sport out there. And they have no waivers, no trades, no weekly lineups here in their best ball. So Anthony last year placed 42nd out of 70,000 plus, turned $4 entry into almost $400. So you could do that too. I mean, you could go into their pick 'em contest where you do pick a higher, lower on player stats and total yards and total touchdowns. And again, the other sports are there as well. I don't get into those because really I'm just a football guy. We're just diehards about it, and I just want to do more best ball drafts here before the season starts. And like Anthony's talking about, doing best ball 5 mania, which is like $25 buy-in. Hopefully get a good draft going there. But visit underdogfantasy.com, and when you do, enter our promo code Get Right, and you'll be able to claim up to 50% deposit match, up to $250. So that's a lot of free money that you get in there. And then you'll also receive $5 in bonus cash if you deposit up to $500. So check it out. Download the app. Use the code Get Right, and it could actually probably mock with us a couple times there. Honestly,
It's not even a mock. It's real money. You put your money where your mouth is. Let's
yeah,
go.
exactly. At that
Go
point,
sign up. Come get your money back from me right here.
my girl
Let's
keeps
do
asking,
it.
why you keep mocking so much? Is like, well, some of those are best balls, so I'm actually got money in on those. And it's almost like practice to me. It's like sometimes I'm just like,
It
nah, I
is.
just need to do
It's
another one.
competitive practice, and
Yeah.
you have a chance to win your money back. If you happen to draft that one team that you're like, oh, I wish this was the one. It
Yeah.
can be the one with
It could be the one.
underdogfantasy.com.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
So go check them
So-
out, guys.
What do we got here for Monday nights now? We got this tournament starting up here. Go ahead. Tell about this tournament here, Ant.
Yeah, man. So it's kind of a little convoluted, but really the easiest thing is just, be part of the sleeper community, which go in the description. You'll see the link to the mock draft tournament there. Basically, it's just a thread that has all the mock lobbies in there. Jump in the lobby that works for you. You get one chance per week to make the semifinal round, which happens that Friday. So the folks that drafted tonight, the top 3 will get an invitation to mock with us on Friday night. So we're going to do that for 4 consecutive nights, Monday through Thursday. The top 3 basically from each one of those, 3 times 4 is 12. We'll mock in that semifinal round on Friday. We're going to do that for 4 consecutive weeks. So basically, we're going to take then the top 3 from those semifinal rounds and create an elite 12, like the best of the best get right drafters are going to be in one best ball league that'll be set to the underdog settings, 18 rounds, 1 quarterback, 3 flex, half PPR. But we'll draft it here on Sleeper, and the winner of that, we're going to actually play it out, and the winner's going to take home $50 cash. Doesn't cost anything to get in. All you really got to do is just show up for the mock that you sign up for, and we'll handle the rest. It's kind of like draft it and forget it. We'll let you know if you advance or if you need to try again. And if you want more details than that, I can give them to you. But that's the mock draft tournament in a nutshell, man. It's a ton of fun. Helps August go by. It's real competitive. Worst case, you're just getting some good mocks in. Something to look forward to during your week. Hey, I'm in this mock draft on this night, and this time, and if I make it, I'm advancing. So it's just, again, helps pass the time until we get some actual real football going on here. And what'd you say? 38 days? 37, 38 days? Come on.
And I also wanted to mention, now we got more people grading, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, just shout out to Ruskin there and
Phil Ruskin and Kendall Vanderbilt from the Football Tavern and the Extra Point. And then, of course, our very newest addition to the Get Right Fantasy Network team, Mr. Tycoon himself, will be going from one side of the tournament as a participant and finalist last year, made it to the top 12 in the best ball league and was doing pretty good for a while. And he will be on this side grading. So he's looking forward to having his input here on who advances and who doesn't. So man, we're getting excited. So yeah, 7 of us total will be judging.
Seven
yeah,
total judging.
so it'll be a true consensus. So if you guys thought maybe one of us was leaning one way or the other heavy,
no,
no, it's not happening now. It's going to be a true consensus from 7 different judges. So the best people that we've seen though advance are the ones who watch the show, because you guys know what we're looking for, like in this show here. So you're going to know what our feedback is, what's going to help us make your team advance. And then once you get to the best ball league and it's being played out for money, then go ahead and take your shots there. But right now it's just kind of a game. Like
Yeah.
it's meant to have that engagement with us and you. So of course the people who watch are going to have that advantage. So
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. And they're going to enjoy it better. I mean, because you're in there and you're trying to win. I mean,
We're
first of
talking
all, I mean, you
football
got
too
money.
for the hour.
Yeah,
It's just a
exactly.
good group of guys, man. We're all degenerates getting these drafts in, man. It's just a fun time and good just fantasy football stuff. You'll be able to meet guys if you maybe get invites to leagues. It's just being part of the community more than anything. So make sure you guys come check it out if you are interested. Just let me know and I'll get you guys in.
Yeah. So the links in the description there, right? So right
48
now,
different mockers a week because you can only enter one time per week. So that's
yeah,
12 people, 4 days a week, 48 different people you're competing against. We're trying to get the top 12 out of those. And then the top 12 from all 48 of those. Like, it's literally the best of the best guys.
yeah,
Don't you want to be a part of that? Don't you want to be the one who says, I took that down?
exactly. I mean, and
Shout
there's
out to
50
Rafi.
bucks.
And you
Yeah,
get a little
yeah,
50 bucks
you get the
for your
50
time.
bucks. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's not like
All
you're
right.
like, just doing it for funsies. There's still something there,
Yeah, it doesn't
and
cost
you
you
get in
anything. A
the
little
best
bit of
ball.
time.
You get to see what really happens at the end of the
Yeah,
year with that team that you construct. Hey, that's the best part.
for sure.
I like seeing it at the end. So without further ado, let me
Yeah,
go
let's
ahead
get
and put
into
up
it.
the draft board here that we got going on.
Oh, see, and I
Again,
almost went a whole other. Can you believe it? Last show, while you get this up here,
yeah, yeah.
last show was the first show that I didn't wear my ring. I
Uh-oh.
got done. We were post show, and I realized I didn't wear the ring the whole show, so I had to break it out here tonight. Quick shout out to our boys over at TrophySmack.com. But I
Let's get a
just,
look at it. Let's
yeah,
get a
there we
look at
go,
it better. There we go. Sorry about
there
that.
we
There
go.
you go. There you
And I
go. I
just,
mean,
I just renewed the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
gentlemen,
So, game
that
on,
was the new
guys.
league we just created
Come
last
get
year.
it.
And since you're talking about it, I mean, let's
Come
go
get
ahead
it.
and give a little quick shout out to our other sponsors here in Trophy Smack, right? And
I had
uh,
to.
so Trophy Smack, as you can see, you can get a ring like Anthony's, maybe a belt, a trophy, or even a
The belts
chain.
are over there, out of
To
reach.
go trophysmack.com, and browse they got a lot of items right there right now. And so the best way to do it right now is you're starting your leagues, everybody's, starting the new
Yeah.
seasons, is go ahead,
$7 for one
throw
of
in
these.
an extra
$7
7
extra
bucks on top of your,
per person,
your
12-person
buy-in, that
limit.
whatever it is that you have on your home league, and everybody throws in an extra 7 bucks. You end up with the ring at the end of the year. It's a little bit better than bragging rights. And then you can start,
Collecting these
collecting
things.
an arsenal of these things. You got belts and rings, and
I'm gonna be
also
over here. My hands are gonna
chains.
be so heavy.
Yeah, not just for these sports, but also other sports and all kinds of stuff. So
For
check
sure.
them out, trophysmack.com. Again, always use our promo code get right at checkout. That helps support the channel. And give a shout out to us and help us out here, get these bills paid. But again, we're going back to over here to this draft tonight that we're talking about here. And I'll go ahead and read off the first one here, Anthony.
Go right ahead.
Give you a moment
Get
here.
into it.
So, we started off again. This is a super flex with 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, full PPR here. So, as I read off, keep in mind that's why it's drafting with starting off with Jalen Hurts here at the 1-1 spot as the first pick for Kuda. Then he picks Jordan Love, the man who just got paid, right?
Cha-ching. We didn't even mention
Wow.
that last show when
Yeah,
it happened.
he got paid, man. And for what, 7-8 games that he played?
8 games.
Yeah,
I guess that's all it
crazy.
takes now. It's
That's
8
all it
games.
takes. This guy gets paid. So good pick there. He goes quarterback as it is super flex. If you look at the draft board, he's the only one that actually did that. But sometimes you got to do that in these positions because you get the first pick and it's a long way back to you, and then you don't know who's going to come back. Maybe he didn't want to wait, but he did end up going JT and Devon A. Chain after that. And I'm not sure if you got the memo, but it's 3 wide receivers. But I would have took 1, not 2 running backs there, so I could end up with a better wide receiver. Then flexed out another running back later on. Again because it's 3 wide receivers. So he ends up Stephon Diggs on a new team over here as his number 1. He's getting a little older. Target, numbers are down, so I'm not sure. Christian Kirk has been solid, like him. Zay Flowers is up and coming. Let's see if he can keep that going this year over there in Baltimore. We got Jay Ferguson here in Dallas, so I like him. Rashee Rice going in on suspension situation here with that guy. We got Gus Edwards, who's I guess he's getting the touches over there and with the Chargers. Curtis Samuel here at Buffalo, nice pick there. Chuba Hubbard, and then he rounds it out with Rashid Shaheed and Robinson here, Demarcus Robinson, flyer at the end here. What are your thoughts on this team, Anthony?
Yeah, so for me, um, I mean, what's funny is Kuda kind of did the same build from the 12 spot, actually, last week. Before this, same type of idea. Just grabbing the 2-2, kind of basically filling out the starting roster. I mean, going from there, we know he does like his running backs, kind of going with that double hero RB and double QB build there from the 1 spot. Like you said, I mean, his receivers aren't too bad, all things considered. You know, considering he has Hurts, Love, Taylor, and HN, ahead of him. But like you said, a little risky. If you get Taylor, I'd much rather have someone else there. But I mean, really, the pickings weren't quite there. So more, I probably would have went more so with a wide receiver here instead of Jonathan Taylor. But for me, I still think it's overall a pretty solid team. I mean, I see the upside with it. I wish he would have taken a couple like handcuffs, or not handcuffs, but lotto tickets down here at the end instead of guys like Hubbard and Robinson.
Shaheed.
Like we kind of know what these and who these guys are. Shaheed is a little bit of a lotto ticket, but I'd like to see maybe one of the rookies or someone like that down here.
Yeah, you got to get picked. So what's the grade on it?
So for me, as far as my grade, I came in with it kind of in that B minus range, just because he is so top heavy. With that starting lineup, I think it is decent. Has some good depth there. So I mean, I think it's more like B minus, B, kind of in that range.
Yeah, I'm right there with you as well. I gave him a B, kind of C area. B minus, like you're saying, C. Again, just because it is 3 wide receivers, he does have a good, decent build. If it was, not just 3 wide receivers, 2 wide receivers and 2 flex, then I would like it better or something like that. You know what I mean? Because then he could take advantage of his running back core. And I think at this point, you just need to lean on those wide receivers and get them early and often, like the rest of the teams have done. And then you don't end up with the slim pickings that you have to go for afterwards, or try to take shots like Rashee Rice. It will pan out for him, but now you don't know how many game suspension he's going to have. You know what I mean? But that's a good piece that he's going to have later on, at least.
I think that's the kind of guy you almost have to target in this kind of build, though, because you need that guy that maybe is going to, his value is kind of nerfed because of the potential suspension. Whereas, I mean, where would Rashee Rice be going right now had he not had these off the field? He'd be going like round. Second, third round. I mean, would you take Rashee Rice connected to Mahomes with what he had before Devontae Adams? Over
before
London,
Devontae
over
Adams?
Evans? No. Yeah. I mean, Olave. I mean, I'd have him I'd have him probably ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr. At least we've seen what Rashee Rice has done with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Like, no lie. Like, I'd even probably have him ahead of Nakua. So it'd be like, honestly, like, I could easily see it go Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, maybe Garrett Wilson, but like literally you could put Rice right there. At least in Dynasty, he's going there easily.
Oh yeah, in Dynasty is for sure. No, I mean, I think that's
not with without the
blood.
off the field stuff, right? Like we're saying, like none of that stuff happened. He would easily be going in that like 2-3 turn, easily, maybe mid second.
I'm thinking
so
3-4.
To get him down here in the ninth is almost free. Like, okay, he misses 6 games even. Like Justin Jefferson missed 6 games last year.
That's why I think I like.
We took him
but you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and he still worked out and came back and still helped you win like 20 plus points a game. Like, so it could happen. And this guy's not even coming off injury.
Yeah,
just being stupid.
Sticking with it though. Sticking with
it. Anyway, no, that's good. That's good. One thing I do want to point out before I read off JWN's team here is the fact that one thing I do like in this type of build though is because he spent so high draft capital at quarterback, he really couldn't grab a QB3. So you're kind of just taking that risk. You're going to flex somebody in that super flex spot during each of these guys' bye weeks, and you're just going to hope you have so much of an advantage over the field at that position to where that 1 week of each one of those guys you'll be okay, especially if some of these wide receivers hit down here in a full PPR. They're going to score what people's kind of QB3s could potentially score. Again, someone like Rashee Rice could be scoring you in your super flex. What one of those QB3s like Derek Carr could score any week of 17 points, So I think that was good that he didn't. try to overspin there, and he still ended up with 4. So good job. All right, probably too much time on the first team, but it kind of sets the
Sets the
tone
tone.
for the show. Yeah, it sets the tone for the
I like
show.
it. I like it.
It's hard to
Well,
go
go
first.
ahead. Read off JWN71. Go ahead.
For
and read
sure.
it. Let's see what do we got.
Hold on. What did we got? A boy Chandler
see?
Castatino here in there.
Constantino.
New name to me. So appreciate you coming out. Hopefully you're subscribed. If you're not, please hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, hit that like button for us. That helps out too. He says, I really don't think Kirk or Flowers or Diggs are any different than Metcalf, Debo, Waddles, Smith, Cooper, and allows you to get 2 stud QBs and RBs and load up on wide receiver 2s with wide receiver and upside if this is redraft. So yes, it is redraft, and that's, I mean, you basically that's what we're saying. So he agrees with us, which is why we still have him as that kind of B minus B plus or that B minus B range in there, just because again it's not too bad and they do have that upside, but what if they don't? But again, that tier is so flat, which is why he went with those 2 upside wide receivers or running backs like we're talking about. So again, a little too much time, but hey, when we got some interaction from the chat, we're gonna go to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, just to say what's up with Craig. Say what's up, Craig.
Yep.
We're talking about it. August is here. It's go time. That's
Let's
right.
go.
Irish German. Let's do it.
Appreciate you guys. All right, so here we go, man. Team 2. We'll try to speed it up here a little bit as we go. But still, again, we're going to give you guys the time on breaking down these teams. So JWN71, returning guy here, of course. Big, I don't want to say fan, but big supporter of the channel here. He goes, Josh Allen falls to him here at 102, which is, again, Kuda's calling his shot with Hurts, 101. So call your shot on your QB1 this year. But he goes Josh Allen, Chris Olave, Saquon Barkley, kind of goes with that rainbow approach first, gets the top at each kind of position. 3 wide receivers, so then he follows that up with 2 wide receivers in Collins and Cup as his wide receivers 2 and 3. Then he gets his RB2 and Joe Mixon, grabs his starting tight end here in Evan Ingram, grabs his flex or wide receiver 4 in Deontay Johnson, waits on this QB2 down here until the 9th range, which is usually like QB3 range, which is basically what he gets here. And Will Levis, maybe he has the potential QB2 upside, but we'll see. So then he goes Tony Pollard here in the 10th with his RB3, Ezekiel Elliott as RB4 in the 11th, grabs Drake May as a QB3 here in the 12th, grabs TJ Hawkinson for good value down here in the 13th, considering he already has Ingram. Maybe you can use that as a trade piece later. And then goes Roman Wilson here in Pittsburgh in the 14th. So, Frank, where did you have this team ranked?
I'm kind of, even just as you read it off again, I was still like, oh, I like the beginning. I don't mind the rainbow that he did in the beginning. And I like that he rounded off with the 2 wide receivers. I just don't like this, the second QB way down here in Will Levis. Somehow in beyond in even Ingram, Johnson or whatever, because I do like the mix and pick, because that rounded off his top, and I think that somewhere in there he could have took a little bit better of a quarterback or somebody a better shot with, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers or Geno Smith or something, you know what I mean? Over Will Levis. He did take a 3rd QB, so that kind of helps him support what's going on there. I like the Tony Pollard and Zeke picks that he had late, because he already had, a good set of wide receivers in Chris Olave, Nico Collins, Cooper Kupp. But, then he just ends up taking, Roman Wilson late like that, TJ Hawkinson, who may be coming back from the injury and all that. Let's see how he works out. It is late. But I don't know. I'd still just give him a solid B on this team. I think that that Will Levis situation, having the Drake May, hopefully one of those 2 pans out for him, but it's just a little late because it's Superflex, and I just don't think he could overcome that.
Yeah, I kind of came in at a B minus C plus on this team, and basically it is because of that QB2 kind of position, and the fact that he didn't really gain an advantage somewhere else to really have a guy that he could kind of place in that Superflex role, because he did grab that early RB2. If you kind of maybe went with a more anchor RB build and grabbed somebody else there, but again, guys that were kind of available to him. Again, this is a sharp room. So, he misses out on Allen, if you call that missing out, and misses out on Tank Dell, which is probably more the question. You're probably not going Christian Kirk or Zay Flowers over him. Probably not going Terry McLaurin over him. and then we don't see anybody else until Jaden Reed, and then guys like Hollywood Brown, Chris Godwin. So as he was on the clock there in the sixth, it's just a tough spot. So I assume he just went with, of course, Mixon being, attached to that offense, and being in the situation that he is, figured he'd probably outscore the wide receivers at that position. And same thing kind of at tight end. I'd rather get one of the upper echelon guys versus someone, kind of in that wide receiver tier, which is just kind of, tough when you come around in this position. So I think, really where I think he messed up was the Evan Ingram pick. If you would have went Baker Mayfield there, I think he has a chance to recover this team because instead of Evan Ingram, you can maybe get the stack with Cade Otton, super late, still pick up somebody like TJ Hawkinson and then not be so, down, maybe even get, someone like, I mean, I don't think Chris Godwin or anyone was still there, but I think that Otton stack could potentially help there.
Help
so
him out late.
Yeah.
I mean,
so,
Baker Mayfield, Deshaun Watson, Geno Smith.
Yeah, like
one of those guys.
Any of those guys, maybe besides Watson. Like it would have been between Mayfield and Smith, but I wouldn't have passed on my QB2 over my tight end one in the 7th.
Yeah.
So that's it. Kind of, I think I'm probably more like C+ range because of that.
Yeah, that's why I was having a hard time. It was just kind of going back and forth at it, but moving on. I'll go ahead and read off the next one here. PR Ruskin.
Oh no, that's Phil's. Yeah, we're doing Unogas.
We're going to go to Unogas here because Ruskin's on the team here, so he'll be one grading some of these mocks coming up here.
And we talked about it kind of a little bit on Friday's show.
On the show, so yeah. So go back, watch that Friday show. You can watch this live draft happen. So we got Unogas here in the 4th spot, taking Lamar Jackson, nice running quarterback, Jahmyr Gibbs, Evans. So he's getting the little rainbow look going on right here. Get his top 3 in his positions. Jaden Daniels, so he goes right off the bat, gets his QB2 in the 4th here. Mark Gant followed that by Mark Andrews, the top tight end here as well. And he still was able to get Tank Dell, which I really like there in the 6th. TJ McLaurin, Scary Terry, Lad McConkey, who I really like this year. Zach Moss, I hope does well, but I kind of feeling like what Anthony was saying. You could wait on him and take the Chase Brown, and probably it sounds like it's going to be 1-1-1-2 this year with these two guys. But I still think the edge is still going to Zach Moss just because of his pass blocking abilities. Then we got Benson.
Remember, Forum. Joe Mixon caught a lot of passes on 1st and 2nd down. He didn't really play much on 3rd down passing downs either.
No, he didn't.
He caught the ball on 1st and 2nd down. So
which I like.
Is what it is. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry to
then we got Blake Corum, Khalil Shakir here from Buffalo. Takes a backup a tight end and Dallas Goedert, and then a lottery pick in Dontavian Wicks. So what are your thoughts on this guy here, Anthony?
Yeah, so we kind of talked about this team a little bit, or at least the boys did on Friday. I personally had this team. It's really, of course, going to depend on Jane Daniels. I mean, if we think he has the rushing upside, that we think he has, as a QB2, he's going to be in a nice position there. May still be a little early, but I think you took him in the right spot because you kind of there's a definite tier drop according to an entire round and a half until another quarterback was taken in Stafford, and then Rodgers and Cousins all in the same round, which those kind of guys, once one of those guys go, they pretty much all 3 kind of go in that same round. So overall, if you like Scary Terry, then I think this is a safe, decent build for you. I personally, again, because you guys know I'm so wide receiver heavy, all these are some guys that I like. It's that Scary Terry pick that's just getting me. Like if that was like Jalen Reed, bro, I'd be like, oh, this team's
solid, right?
Yeah. But that Scary Terry pick is just insane. But I understand the stack with Daniels. I understand what he was doing with it. It's just, Washington isn't that great of an offense that I want to get unless it's like Brian Robinson Jr., in the 11th, like he went here in Phil's team. So as an RB 2 or 3 in a anchor,
he's getting it as an RB4 and he's still starting running back over here.
Yeah. So, but other than that, man, like you said, the top is pretty solid. If Daniels hits, you got Andrews. It's a nice starting team with some upside. You need McConkey and McLaurin, to be decent, to be able to flex. Classic anchor RB build. Of course, you're taking your shot though in those 3 rounds with Moss, Vincent, and Corum, hoping for an injury. Moss is your week 1 starter, but you're hoping for an injury to Connor or Kyron. It's kind of a tough way to play, but a way I find myself playing. So I'm gonna kind of come in at that C plus B minus range on this one as well. I don't think it's as, if I had to pick between like JWN and Uno Goss, I'd probably take Uno Goss's team. So maybe I have more JWN at a C plus and Uno Goss at a B minus.
B minus, right?
But if I had to like score these guys, which we kind of did on Friday, we went with a number scoring system instead of a letter grade. So I would probably have like Uno Goss at like probably like an 81 and JWN at like a 79. Like it's like that close, but still enough difference.
Just that close, right?
Yeah. So where are you at?
Let's see. I mean, I like the starting lineup that he's got. Like you're saying, if Jaden Daniel hits, he's doing all right. He is another rushing quarterback, so we seem to like those. They just add more to the stats and scoring for the.
What up, Tim Boys? Sorry, I had to say what up to the OG.
No worries. Andrews, where he took him, I guess that's where he's going. In the 5th, which these guys kind of held out. I think he could have held out to the 6th, maybe on some of these guys, but once they started after Kelsey and Andrews, as you can see, there's another Kincaid and McBride were taken a little later on. So, they're not sliding too much further than that. And I think that's a good spot to take them. I don't mind the Scary Terry pick because he did, stack it. You know what I mean? If you're going to, take one.
Yeah,
but I do feel like,
again, out of it.
Reed would have been better player overall. I think we both like Reed over McLaurin. I like the McConkey. And like you're saying, it's classic hero RB build because he didn't take his running backs till later. And he did, go on and run on him after he already had, 4 wide receivers. So he went ahead and just made a run on it. Kind of drafted as well as it could, getting another lottery pick in Dontavian Wicks that I liked late. So I'm in a solid B range for this guy. There's nothing too pizzazzy about it. Things got to kind of pan out again with Daniels and things like that. But I think overall, he has, the contention. You know what I mean? You're not bad.
So if you're a B, are you 84, 85, 86?
I'd say 85.
Okay, so literally right in the middle.
Yeah, right in the middle. It's not too positive, not too negative. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see what
Uno
you got
Goss.
on Ron Swanson here.
What's up, Ron? All right, man. So we got Ron Swanson in the house here. Definite friend of the show. So he's in the 5 spot. He goes CJ Stroud, which was interesting over Anthony Richardson at the 105. But he goes Stroud, followed by Nakua, then Sam Laporta. Then he grabs 2 running backs and Josh Jacobs and Rashad White. Grabs his QB2 here in the 6th and Kirk Cousins. Then he gets Aaron Jones as his RB3, followed by Jordan Addison, same team, little correlation stack there. Possible suspension as well. We'll see. That's his wide receiver 2. Then he goes DeAndre Hopkins as his wide receiver 3, followed by Tyler Lockett as his wide receiver 4. Again, this is 3 wide receiver 1 flex full PPR. Then he gets McCarthy to kind of get that full stack with Minnesota with Aaron Jones, Addison, McCarthy. Even though Sam Darnold's, I guess, expected as of now to start week 1, but that's, again, it's only July 29th or whatever. Zach Charbonnet, love that pick. Good value there. Dalton Schultz here in the 13th and follows it up with one of my favorite best ball picks. I think he's favorite of all in best ball, Mr. Gabe Davis on a new team in Jacksonville there. Potential field stretcher now that Ridley's gone. What do you think about this team, Frank? Where'd you come in at with Mr. Swanson?
I like him. Taking Jordan Addison as your number 2 wide receiver and the situation that he has is not good. Basically,
you could argue Laporte is his wide receiver 2.
Yeah, you could, and I can see where the scoring they're going to get from that guy. However, you still got to start 3, right? So at some point you're going to need more than starting with DeAndre Hopkins, who's old, and Tyler Lockett as you're starting with Puka. You know what I mean? Like, it's at some point that's going to be the starting lineup. Jordan Addison, hopefully, kind of make that up late, but I don't think he's one of those players that can. Versus Rashee Rice, I think Rashee Rice would have been better than Jordan Addison. I think you agree with that because you're trying to take Rashi Rice over here right after Puka, right?
Yeah, I'd probably do
Uh,
that right now.
yeah,
It's
you
tough.
know,
They're both kind of in the same situation. They're both the same guy to me right now.
yeah, but I don't think
Rice
Addison's
ahead,
scoring it.
but yeah,
Yeah, Rice is ahead. That's what I'm trying to get at. You know what I mean? And you got this guy took Rice one round later than Jordan Addison, and this is a starting guy for him. This other guy already has Rashi Rice as his third guy, not his second guy.
fourth.
So
Yeah, it's fourth actually.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Fourth guy, not his second guy. So with that being said, even just to cut it short on this, because from there on it was just like, yeah, I liked the McCarthy pick, Zach Charbonnet late, but you already got Josh Jacobs, Rashid Wright, and Aaron Jones here, and which again, Jones coming back from injury. Let's see how that works out.
Big
It's a
Ty,
lot of
Ty Chandler fan here.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, Aaron
Yeah,
Jones my guy.
that's
but
that's what I'd be looking at. It's Ty Chandler
take
here.
Ty Chandler at his cost over Aaron Jones
Yeah.
in the
So
seventh.
I mean, with all that being said, I give him a C, man. I'm like not to hate on him, but it's
Ron.
just
Frank's coming at you, Ron. You hear that?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, there's not too much bad here, but yeah, to take 3 running backs in a 3 wide receiver league before you take your wide receiver 2, even with Laporta, to me it's just not where I want to be. And like you said, when you got to take chances on someone like Rashee Rice in that spot over Addison, just because you need that upside if you are going to go with those 3 running backs early. At least he did wait to grab that RB4 until Charbonnet like way towards the end. But yeah, I mean, what's weird is like with this type of build, the individual players I actually don't really have too much of a problem with per se.
Yeah.
Like my worst picks maybe would be Aaron Jones and D Hop, but that's just kind of like cutting it, like really nitpicking at it. You can nitpick the Tyler Lockett, Zach Charbonnet stack. It just
Yeah. Like
again, just how it kind of came together isn't what I want to see in the makeup and the build of a team. So more on the
I would have
construction
took
side.
Watson there instead of D Hop.
Yeah, there's several. I mean, personally, me, I would have went JSN there. Just I like that potential upside there, but then he wouldn't have went Lockett somewhere else. Maybe I would have went Dobbs there instead of Lockett if you could do it kind of all over again. So again, maybe just not guys I would take in this type of build. But that's why you come mock. If you want to take a tight end early like Laporta and be that first one pulling on tight end, you have to be able to make it up for it later. And I don't think having that running back 3 or even, grabbing that early on Cousins, like maybe you just have to forfeit that, QB2 position and still grab someone like Tank Dell right there, over Cousins, even though you see quarterbacks kind of going down. You just have to be okay with like a Geno Smith come back with the JSN and get that stack instead. I mean, it's just
late, even at
like that would have worked out, right? So again, just
that's why it's the C.
Right. So I think I'm right there with you, man. I'm C plus on this team. Again, and that's what's weird is because like the individual players, you look at them collectively.
No, it's not
I'm like,
bad.
yeah, I don't have any problem with those guys. Just as a team, as it's constructed, I just think it's in a tough situation. It's a tough build. So sorry, Juan. Gonna have to go with I'm with Frank. I'll go C plus C on that one.
No, I'm just gonna see. And I just to say that because I'm coming up and I wanted to mention, I'm gonna just be giving 1A out. That's it. And
there you
It's
go.
gonna be B's and C's now.
All right. There it is.
One game out because you got to pick a winner. You got to take a shot at it. Maybe
teaser.
Two, who knows? But I doubt it.
Little teaser.
On that note, we're gonna look at Shaw Dog 69 here coming up. He comes up in the 6th spot here, and he takes CeeDee Lamb and Garrett Wilson. So he's paying attention. He's taking his 2 wide receivers right off the bat. Then he comes back with Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk, getting a stack on that. If he stays in there with San Francisco, what do you think, Anthony? He's going to stay
this year? Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
so he's staying. So he's got a nice stack there with Purdy and Ayuk.
Under contract.
Well, I'm just saying. You know what I'm trying to say is that
you could hold out, but I mean, would you?
No, he'll play. I don't think he'll hold out. He'll play. DK Metcalf here is his 4th wide receiver. Then he takes his finally his running back here and Ken Walker, and then he picks up his back second QB and Deshaun Watson. Then he goes back to another running back in Swift, Justin Swift-Njigba, excuse me. And then David Njoku, a nice spot there for a tight end. He took Bryce Young as his QB3. Then he goes Gibson and then Davis here. Then he rounds it out with Josh Downs and Indy, who I kind of like. He has some
Yeah, I don't
upside
mind Josh
potential on
Downs,
that guy.
especially in the 14th. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not
in the
bad.
14th spot. So what's your
I'll
grade
never
on this
draft
guy?
him because I'm always grabbing AD Mitchell, but that's just me. I'm grabbing AD Mitchell like in the 11th. I don't know where he
Yeah.
went. He's probably on my team in this one. Yep, AD Mitchell right there in the 12th.
Yeah,
So
in the
yeah,
12th.
so that's why I'm not grabbing Downs. But yeah, I mean he did run the third fastest 40 time
Yeah.
in this year's combine. So I
That's
mean,
the same- that's
and he
what I
has
said.
a quarterback that has a rocket for an arm. So I'm just putting two and two together. I'm just saying.
I
All
just
right.
said it, right? That's why I like Xavier.
I
That's
mean,
why I like
that's
Xavier Worthy. He's the fastest
sometimes
guy,
it's too
but the
simple,
guy
right? Like,
that can throw it. So
yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna take a shot on Xavier. I
yeah,
don't know
like
about
I'll
you.
have some. Yeah, I got plenty of best ball with Xavier.
Yeah.
And he's actually on my Scott Fishbowl team. Shout out, return yards, baby. Let's go. All right,
Right?
sleeper, bro. Like I got him super late too. Like I think he's like my first like bench spot. Like because I drafted all wide receivers,
No,
and he's like
I
my
was
first
drafting with
bench
some
guy.
sharks. They were taking those guys early, and I was like,
Oh.
what? I'm telling you,
Yeah,
I
dude,
didn't
I
think
got
anybody
Kyler
big
in the
would
second. Anyway.
Dallas. He was like ranked 400 something, and he got taken like in the 10th or 11th round. I forget what it was. I was like,
Oh
what
wow.
are you guys doing?
Oh, did you see
He's like,
Scott Fishbowl like the rankings? I'll have to send you the link. Like you can see where your team ranks against all like
oh wow,
390,
no, I didn't see that. I don't even want to know.
996
I don't think
people.
I did well.
Hey, I got 859, bro, out of
Wow,
3,996. So at
that's
least
not
like
bad.
pre-draft,
You're in the middle, right then.
middle,
Top,
bro.
upper.
859 out of 39 out of almost
What does that give
4,000.
you then? What does that give you?
Dude,
Like
that's
a
I'm
B?
like top. Yeah, dude, I'm like top. I'm in the top 859 out
Yeah.
of 4,000. I'm good. I feel good. Anyway,
I still a B.
all right. All right. Yeah, I think it was like the 78th percentile, but it's still
Yeah.
pretty good. Still pretty good. Almost a B. All right.
So Shaw
I
Dog.
was second in my league. The guy that's first was like ranked 500 something. So like our league we had some guys.
Oh, that's tough.
Either we had some terrible drafters that a couple guys took advantage of, which I feel was probably more the case, or we had a really good draft and it was just like people were just taking their shots. So you never know.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, what were we even talking about here?
I think
Shaw Dogs team.
Shaw Dogs. I
All
think
right.
in my league that people were taking their shot. They weren't waiting around. It was like, no, go get your guy. Because
Just go
they
get
weren't
your.
like everybody.
You only
was
had to
like,
start one at each position. Just go get your guys after
yeah,
that.
that's
Like,
why they were like, no, don't even worry about it. Just get your guy first. And they
Yeah.
were filling in after that.
Yeah. Anyway.
Reacher was not even a question. He's like, get
Right.
your guy.
Just go get him. All right. So, Mr. Shaw Dog, sorry about that. A little Scott Fishbowl interlude. FantasyCares.org. Make sure you guys go donate. CeeDee Lamb, Wilson, like you said, Purdy. I mean, I love the wide receivers. You guys know I love this build, but I mean, when you come out of it with Jackson Smith and Jigma, Metcalf, Walker, you end up like taking best available, but they're all on the same team. You never like that, especially in a redraft team. Like maybe in Dynasty, you can kind of do something like that if you're just taking top assets, knowing you're going to trade. But to start the team with three guys on an offense it's not the Bills, even it's not even, it's not the Niners, it's not Detroit, it's not, these people that we feel are going to be the top offenses. It's not even the Rams with Stafford and Puka and Cup. You know what I mean? So that's what I just don't like about it. Shaw Dog's my guy. We're in a couple leagues together now this year. Mock with him all day, every day. It seems like I just didn't like this build, man, on how he went. Like he went 0 RB, which I don't mind, but I think it was almost overkill when you spend Lamb and Wilson. I think you need to come in and maybe get like an Isaiah Pacheco here after Purdy. Once you do that, then you could take a Metcalf. Then you're not stuck taking Walker here. You could grab a Tank Dell. And so now you're sitting with Pacheco, Metcalf, and Tank Dell in your flex, right? And then you could still grab DeAndre Swift as your RB2, which I don't mind at all. And then, yeah, Gibson and Davis down here, whatever. They're kind of some lotto tickets, but out of week one, you're pretty solid. When you kind of do that. And then again, JSN, then that'll also allows you, instead of JSN, to go with an upside shot and someone like Coleman or Watson, who could be a complete league winner this year, given the, offenses, their potential, and their potential. Those are the guys I'm looking for kind of in that range. So I would have personally done a little differently, but, is what it is. So I don't know, where did you say you came in on this team again?
I didn't give you the grade.
You haven't even done it yet? Oh, it's me first?
Yeah.
All right.
First.
So for me, I'm kind of right here with Ron's team, man. I'm kind of sitting in that C range
really?
on this one. C plus for me here. I don't like the Watson pick really either. I'm not a big Bryce Young fan. I mean, Njoku helped me, get 42nd place out of 70,000 on underdog last year. So I like him. but it's just Watson. I mean, he has the stat. It's just not feeling this team after like the first like 3 or 4 picks.
I like the team a lot. I did from the beginning. I was like, oh, if you just like kind of overview and just even look at the colors and like, ooh, I like that. I like that he took 4 wide receivers and a QB there with top 5 picks, and he goes with the running back. But then if you look deeper and move the colors away, as you said, and you look at DK and Walker and Justin Smith-Njigba, and then I'm like, yeah, ooh, that was a little rough right there. And then Watson right there. I would have just not taken DK. I would have probably just take James Cook there, or just another different one. I don't know. I guess DK is where
James
you take him
Cook
at,
would have been a great pick,
but I
there
would have
too.
took James Cook instead, and then came back with the
Tank
quarterback
Dell.
after that. Instead of Deshaun, because I don't think he's worth his value. Deshaun should be further down by Bryce Young and Daniel Jones, as far as I'm concerned. And I would have been happy with the Geno Smith or Baker Mayfield. They could have came back in one round earlier to you, versus these guys. So with that being said, I do like Njoku where he took him. I thought that was a great pick. Kind of bringing up some of these guys like Josh Downs at the end that we mentioned. I don't really care for Gibson. Ray Davis is not really flashy or doing too much over there. Let's see what happens at Buffalo, but I really don't see too much from him as well. So
I'm so invested in Cook, so I don't want Davis to be anything either.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You're like, nah.
There is part of that going on
You're
too.
Like,
Yeah,
you
just
could
full
have just
disclosure.
took Cook and just like,
full disclosure.
Or at least handcuffed him or something at that point.
Right.
But again, great start, bad middle, finished it off kind of okay, I get ish. Just again, just average teams here. You know what I mean? Like they're not flashy. It doesn't make me say, oh, I'm gonna want to start that team over this other team.
You still have tradable assets. That's why it's not bad.
Let's get an 82 into this or something. You know what I mean?
I'm definitely closer to that, like 75, 76 range if we're going numbers on this.
I'm even giving a little bit much.
Mostly
right. Because I like all the
Sean, I'll come back, man. He'll be in the mock tourney. We'll see him again.
He'll be in there, dude. We'll see. Better luck next time.
He'll probably
let me read off here. We got Pasadena here. Pasadena Pat, or what's the full name on that?
Patriots.
Pasadena Patriots.
Boy, Josh Sanders. He may show up in the chat.
Oh, does okay. Oh, let's see if he's watching. So we got Tyreek Hill. Then he goes Kyler Murray and Caleb Williams. So goes gets his QBs out of the way. Takes DJ Moore, stack there. Deebo Samuel, Malik Neighbors, David Montgomery, who I like as well. I don't know. I still can't get Gibbs so high, having so much, splitting so many carries with Montgomery. I don't know about that. Anyways, I just don't see it. I just don't see how he's so much higher. He's in a time
dynasty, second round, all right.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like iffy to me.
Though. And if Demon does lose, like get hurt for any reason, he's an easy league winner.
He's a de facto number one at that point. Then it's good. Yeah, but it's not. That's not the case, and they still share a lot of carries, a lot. Anyway, so he gets Ridley after that. He gets Jameson Williams there, and then I'm sorry, Jameson Williams and Jamal Williams here with Denver. Javonte. You're right. Javonte.
Too many J Williams going on.
Too many J Williams, exactly.
Might as well have the other J Will in there too. And then he gets J.K. Dobbins right after that. Keep it going.
Right. And I do like the Jerome Ford pick late here. J.K. Dobbins he does get later on. As you mentioned, Pat Freiermuth is his tight end. Finally takes it on the 13th. And then Ricky Pearsall, which is a nice late flyer pick.
Activated off the PUP.
Yeah. He's fine. No, there's no worry about it. Nothing to worry about there. I was going to grade it, but it's your turn. Let's get your grade out of here first before I.
Oh yeah. So we kind of talked about this team actually because Josh was with us on Friday's show. So he asked for a breakdown. I was trying to do my best not to give my breakdown, just letting Kendall and Phil do theirs since they weren't going to be here this week. But I did talk about this team. We really liked it. Classic 0 RB build. I think David Montgomery is one of those guys that I have kind of as that last guy that I feel somewhat comfortable with. If I go 0 RB as my RB1, like he'll just kind of do, especially if I have such an advantage at quarterback and wide receiver. in the league, which I feel this team does as well. So I really like it. The spot where I said that the pick I would change was this Javonte Williams pick here. Just not a big Javonte fan. I would have like personally taken Jalen Warren, who I took just 4 picks later. So maybe there's a little bias there, or even Tajay Spears, even in that spot, I would have even reached a little earlier if I did want a running back specifically in that position. But for me, I'm probably taking the running back before that. I'm taking someone like either Brooks or Mostert. I would have loved Connor, but he did get sniped right there. So maybe that's why he panic picked Ridley. But for me, if I would have been able to go, like, let's say Connor did fall, or even like Mostert or Brooks in that spot, I would have loved to have taken the Coleman or Watson, opportunity there. And then came back around, still was able to get someone like, Jameson Williams or even Lockett or Dobbs. If he went Watson, that would have, given him other stuff. I do love the Ford and J.K. Dobbins picks there late as well, too. In this 0 RB build, I think they're perfect 0 RB type guys. And then you're just, spending all your budget if any running back goes down, you're buying that guy because you're so loaded and stacked at wide receiver and quarterback. You don't need to have more money available for those guys. If they go down, your season's pretty much over. Anyway, your replacement cost is going to be just too high. But if those guys hit, you're sitting in a nice position. So I really like this team. I have it at an A- B+ type range. I probably, and that's only because of the Javonte Williams pick. If it would have finished off how I, Ridley, Javonte, just that round, what is that, 8, 9? If those would have been switched around just a smidge, it would have been like an A team for me. Where are you at?
There you go. I'm close to where you at. I was gonna make it an A team, except I'm just not so fond of having my first tight end at Pat Freiermuth in the 13th. I would have
second in targets on that team. Who else? There's George Pickens and who? Name me another a pass catcher in Pittsburgh besides George Pickens on that team and Pat Freiermuth. I'll wait.
I just don't. I'm just saying that it's just not good enough tight end. It's just not my guy. I know that you're
I'm just saying
with him.
But like I see, I just see with it. Oh no.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
And we'll see if Russell Wilson is actually starting, or if it actually goes to Justin Fields. At which point, I don't think that's going to continue this year. And that was last year's. I mean, we're talking new QBs over there. You know what I mean? Like things have changed over there in Pittsburgh. So I'm throwing all that what you just said out the window because it doesn't apply. We got to see it again this year. You know what I mean? And David Njoku is more proven commodity over there in Cleveland. I think that he would have been better off with them, or even taking a flyer on Brian Bowers in Vegas. Just because it's just too late for me. Like you're saying, everything else is filled in. You got Montgomery, Javonte Williams. I don't care for Jameson Williams is where you could have switched these guys around or something. I do like Jerome Ford and Dobbins later on. That's perfect. But I'm just not agreeing with you on Freiermuth, and I really like the Ricky Pearsall pick later. It's still B+ just because of that. I mean, other than that, that's where he lost me at.
Yeah, we got a nitpick somewhere. So yeah. I'm pretty much with you. Like I said, B+, A-, but definitely B+ first. Creeping it. If I had to put a number on it, I'd say like 88, 89, like 88 and a half.
87. Let's call it 87.
All right, so I'm a little bit. I like it just a smidge more than
just a smidge, yeah.
Only because I'm a little more comfortable with 0 RB, I think, than you are, and I'm more
comfortable
okay
with the 0 RB.
Well, I'm okay with
the 0 tight end.
See, I am. I'm like, just bro, like take a penny, leave a penny on the waiver wire.
You'll throw whoever out there.
Give me all the who was it last year? Gerald Everett. Like, give me all the Gerald Everetts of the world every week, and I'll just take my shot with those guys. If the rest of my team is so,
but you got to be able to land those
heavy. Yeah, so there we go. All right, so let's move on. We're gonna
Dim
Boys, who was here earlier. I don't know if he's still watching us here. He was saying what's up earlier. Maybe he's still here.
Smoking a cat.
What up, guys? He says more and more.
In the RB at the 1-2 turn, but wide receiver between the 5 and 8 picks and the turn. Thoughts on 1 QB league?
You'll have to. I think one of the teams did that last week, Smokey. So I'm sure you probably watched it last Monday's show.
Yeah.
You could hear us break that down. But I'm not a fan of running back, especially at the 1-2 turn. I feel like you're so behind there, and all the top running backs went off the board. That's just my personal opinion. So I much prefer wide receiver at the 1-2 turn over running back. But I think I said it several times. Like as I've done more and more of these mocks, I want to leave at least the first 3 rounds with 1 running back and 2 wide receivers. Ideally, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver in the first 2 rounds, just depending on which end of the draft I'm drafting. If it's in the middle, it's probably wide receiver, running back, or wide receiver, running back, because you in the third you're able to still get one of those decent anchor RBs like an Achan or Pacheco, James Cook, even someone like that I'm okay with.
Yeah,
there. So
I'm right there with
hope that
Anthony
answers.
this year. And them boys is still here.
Oh, he's still there.
Yeah.
What's up, them boys? All right, let's
up?
get into your team breakdown, my guy.
You're reading
All right.
off.
So he goes Anthony Richardson, who got basically an automatic A from my boy Kendall, because we know he's the big A Rich fan here. Get right. He said, because we said 30 seconds. I think he's like, I can do it in 10. A Rich, done. A. So he loves that pick. Doesn't matter what else he has. But he goes A Rich here, falls to him, I guess you could say, at the 108. He goes AJ Brown after that, followed by Justin Herbert. Then he goes 2 running backs in Kyron Williams and James Cook, who we are just talking about. Grabs his wide receiver 2 here in George Pickens. Grabs his tight end 1 in George Kittle, followed by RB3 in James Conner. Then he gets Coleman. Keon Coleman is his wide receiver 2. A little tough. Goes with another rookie here, BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr. here with Jacksonville, followed by wide receiver 4 and Jacoby Myers in Las Vegas. Gets his QB3 in Derek Carr here in the 11th or 12th. 13th, Quentin Johnston to stack with Herbert. And then Tyler Algier, probably one of the better picks on this team, down here in the 14th. So where did you come in at with them boys' this team? Again, OG on the show, listening to you right now. Hey, no pressure.
Right, no pressure, right?
No pressure at all.
Let's see. He starts off with his QB, top wide receiver, QB. So I like the beginning here, just to stick to that. Kyron Williams and James Cook, I do like those, but we were sticking more to the wide receivers. But he does end up with George Pickens, tight end here in George Kittle, which is probably the end of that tier set in that guy. So it kind of drops off to Ferguson after that.
No tight end really goes for a while until like
Ferguson, exactly. There's like a drop
off, and then like nobody for like 3 more rounds.
Yeah, so it's where he gets the last guy in that tier. So I like that. James Conner, which is where I'm thinking he should have been taking a wide receiver,
right?
Because he already got Kyron and James Cook. There was no reason to take Conner. I would have took a wide receiver there. I do like Keon Coleman, Brian Thomas, Myers, because he goes on a run after that. Because he kind of went running back heavy, kind of in the beginning here. Aside from AJ, it's like he's like coming up, recovering from what he took over here, and Kyron and Cook and Connor. Takes David Carr.
I knew you were going to do it again.
Carr. I do it every time. Derek Carr as his QB3. Can't help it. Quentin Johnson, who's actually getting some nice words over there out of the Chargers. And again, we like the last pick.
Interestingly enough, yeah.
Really nice pick. But I'm just going to give him a B, not to beat him down too much or anything like that. But I think that he could have just Connor pick could have went somewhere else. Even the James Cook pick, because he could already just went hero RB with Kyron, and even started there. I think he took his best pick at Kittle in the 7th, where he got him at the bottom of the tier of those guys. But he did start off good.
Yeah. So I'll kind of start. Yeah, I'll kind of start where you left off right there, because I think we're both identifying, maybe not necessarily what went wrong. But we're identifying the same spot in the draft where things maybe took a little change. And I think that's at that George Kittle pick. I think that has to be a wide receiver there. I mean, I understand you could say, okay, George Kittle is going to be his wide receiver 3. But I think at that point, once you've already invested, you went 2 early quarterbacks in a super flex league. You went 2 early running backs before you even grabbed your wide receiver 2. The fact that you still got George Pickens as your wide receiver 2 is like flirting with. Right? Yeah, like you're like flirting with fate and destiny at that point.
Yeah.
And then just to like triple down on it and go like George Kittle, I think it just kind of offset the rest of the flow of the draft. I think what you're saying though is like it still is his best pick. So like 2 things can be true. If that makes sense, like it was literally his best pick. Like it was the right pick at the time, but for the build itself, it's tough, because then I think the same thing, like if I'm looking at James Conner over these other wide receivers that are available, like he just missed out maybe on a Dunze or taking someone like Worthy, but then he would have been, even if Worthy would have fell, he would have went Worthy, Coleman, BTR. Like these are all like late first, early second round dynasty picks. Like, you know, it seems like someone who's just been in dynasty brain the entire time.
That's what's going on, right?
You know, kind of picking here, which we know Dim Boys plays plenty of. So maybe he does feel comfortable with these guys. But it is redraft, man. You don't got 2 years. Yeah, you don't got 2 years to let this team build out. You're trying to win it this year, man. So to come into the league with Coleman as your wide receiver 3 is asking a lot. And then of course Brian Thomas even as your flex. And Myers behind the guy who got the most targets in the league that just spent a ton of investment on a Brock Bowers, he's what, third in the pecking order at best, with a quarterback who's not great regardless of who it is,
not even
AOC
sure who's
or
starting over there.
or Minshew. So like,
or Minshew, who knows?
Yeah, so it's just tough for me to get behind that. But yeah, I mean, I think he started out pretty right there. But I think, you know, even I would have just skipped on Kyron. I would have went with another wide receiver there. Probably like Nico Collins or even DJ Moore. And then I would have just been fine with James Cook as my kind of villain RB, as you guys know me to kind of say. And then I would have just punted tight end since I went that early and I was still, you know, in a good spot with wide receiver. And I would have just turned this into a nice anchor RB build with a late tight end. You can't combine all the draft strategies in one. You can't go early quarterback, early tight end, and early running back in a 3 wide receiver full PPR league and still feel like you can get away with it. But this is why we mock. So you try to get away with it and see what your build can look like. So it's a great mock. But for the results, I'm kind of more in that C plus kind of range, unfortunately. And I know Dim Boys can take it. So
you were rougher than I am. You gave a C plus, huh?
Yeah. So and he was saying he didn't quite like his build either in the draft. So I do have that kind of on you as well too. So I was there for that.
To take a very
but yeah, so he says that. So I actually went into this wanting to take a very boom bust team and see what that looked like. So I mean, I think you did. Like you can make arguments for all these guys. Boom bust.
I don't hate them.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a little rough only because I mean I'm just so wide receiver heavy. I mean maybe you could sneak it with a B minus, like, but I'm more like at a 78 on this team would be my number score.
Yeah,
but a little tough. All right, so before we move on here to the next team, we know we love you, Dim Boys, and he's gonna be coming out with a show here on Get Right Fantasy here soon too. So you guys will be able to hear all the states. Yeah, the Dead Zone Fantasy Show. You guys will. All right, so Tyler's in here saying, appreciate you, Tyler. I mean, I'm sure we've maybe talked to a Tyler before, but if you haven't already, hopefully you subscribe to us here. If you're already subscribed, hit that like button for us. Helps us out just as much. And make sure you get one of the mock drafts, mock draft tournament that we have going on. He says, would you trade Waddle and 425 first for Caleb, Marv, and Bryce? So first, I love the fact that you even have 425 first to give up in this type of situation. But I mean, I guess you could say 2 firsts for Caleb, 2 firsts for Marv, and you're trading Waddle straight up for Bryce. I mean, I don't think it's like as crazy as kind of sticker shock it may be. But if it was Caleb, Marv, and like, I'd almost prefer like another wide receiver, or at least another quarterback in that situation. It's kind of tough to say like which kind of quarterback, you know, you would have said maybe like a Jordan Love or maybe a Purdy or someone like that, instead of Bryce. But I mean, I'd try to do Waddle in 3 first.
Yeah.
If that makes, like, I would pay 3 firsts in Waddle. But I just feel like Waddle's almost worse like a first and a second just on his own to me. Like he's one of my favorite picks this year. So I don't know, where are you at on this one, Frank? I talked enough on it.
Yeah,
where do you at?
I'm with you at maybe 3. Start lower. I think you're giving away enough with Waddle and 3.
Yeah, we'll just take Bryce out of the deal completely, right? Like, let's just hold off on Bryce. Like Caleb and Marv. Let's
get another wide receiver in there or something like that. Yeah.
And I'd want to keep Waddle, so I would just I'd be like either 4 firsts for Caleb and Marv, which I think is fair, and then, you know, Waddle. Now you have Caleb, Marv, and Waddle instead of Caleb, Marv, and Bryce.
Well,
you're still giving up the first. So
team is
Allen, Fields, Monty, Aaron Jones, Aaron Brown, Waddle, Hollywood. Yeah, I would like give him Hollywood instead of Waddle. Hollywood in 3 first
right now too.
Yeah, Hollywood in 3 firsts.
He just went to KC, selling the high before he even starts over there.
I would do Hollywood in 3 firsts just for Caleb and Marv. I don't know if the guy would accept it, but that's what I'd be willing to pay.
That's why you should start at. At least start the bid in there.
Yeah, that's where I'd start at. I'd want to keep Waddle. If it's make or break, Waddle, like I would swap out Hollywood. Would you rather pay Waddle in 3 firsts or Hollywood in 4 firsts? Like, would you rather give the extra first to keep Waddle, or would you prefer to keep your first and give Waddle? That's a tough question.
I'd prefer to keep my first.
See, I'd prefer to keep Waddle. I think I would go with the 4 firsts for.
If Waddle was first on his team, then I would prefer to keep Waddle.
Yeah, but Tyreek Hill's going to be gone in like a year or two, man.
Year or two? Are you sure?
Yeah, he's already like 31.
Yeah.
Like we're already talking about
I
Devontae
don't think
Adams.
he's going to be gone in a year or two, though.
And Tua just got paid, so he's going to be there.
Yeah.
Chemistry's going to be there. I don't know, man. I love Waddle, dude. I'm loving Waddle.
I like me a little Waddle. I love the whole dance he even does. Don't get
And
me
he's
wrong.
my keeper too. He's
Yeah,
one of
don't
my
even get
keepers.
me
I got him
wrong,
on a
so.
couple teams. Yeah. All right, good stuff, Tyler. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Got
Break it
Uno
up,
Gossett
man.
here saying
What
what's up. Hey, we already
Go back.
we broke
We
down your
graded
team,
your
man.
team.
Yeah, go back.
Go
You can go back and check it out. Stay with us live, but once we're done, go back and check it out.
Ask any questions you'd like. We'll go. Moving on though. Here we go.
comments,
So
yeah.
we just went through Dem Boys.
Yeah, I think I read it off, so you go ahead on
who's-
Ahrefs
who's,
7.
Trev 7 here. So he goes CMC first. So CMC in
Hey,
this
you're welcome.
format drops all the way to the 9th. So yeah, I mean, like if you're gonna get him,
Yeah,
in
keep
the
us
9th,
posted though. That's the
you
thing.
know,
When you guys
that's
ask
cool.
us these trade questions, like we get invested with you.
Yeah.
So make
yeah,
sure you
people
like
will
come back and
later
let us
on
know what
and
happened.
tell us.
Yeah,
who was it
come
last
get
year.
in the
He was just, like,
description.
coming back week after
Oh
week.
yeah,
It
hey, I
was
just
like
traded this
a
guy. Hey,
drama.
trade this guy. Yeah, we
were
felt like part
yeah.
of his team. Hey, and he won too. Remember that was
Oh yeah,
the best
yeah. He
part
came
about
back
it.
and said
Yeah.
he won.
It was like a crazy, like remember it was like a 6 team.
Stop talking. Go back.
Yeah,
and accept the
we
trade.
told them just stop watching the show, go ahead, accept, and then come back.
That
Like
was awesome.
don't even let it wait
I
any
couldn't
more
remember the dude's
second
name, but I
longer.
remember doing that.
Yeah, remember it was
That
like an
awesome.
8-team, like it was just like this 8-team, like just super, like
Yeah.
his team was super
It was
stacked.
crazy. We're
Yeah,
like,
anyway.
no, go back. And then
Go
come
back and go
We
get
did
Josh
that.
Allen or whoever it
Didn't even
was.
get better after that. It was Josh Allen. It was Josh Allen.
I think it was Josh
Yeah.
Allen. Yeah.
So
All right.
anyway,
Anyway,
so
go ahead. Go
he
ahead.
goes with, Christian McCaffrey here, Dak Prescott, Travis Etienne. So he goes, you know, I don't call this hero RB, but he gets his 2 RBs right off the bat with Dak. Finally, his wide receiver, Michael Pittman. Then he takes Dalton Kincaid as his wide receiver 2, tight end 1 here. Then he backs up with Aaron Rodgers as his QB2. Then it goes Robert Stevenson. Then his 3rd wide receiver, second wide receiver, in Romo Dunze, and then picks up Christian Watson, who I really like, as his 3rd wide receiver. Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, Mike Williams, Luke Musgrave, and Jalen Polk rounding that out. Which it was an okay lottery pick. I think there's better ones out there than even Polk. He's going to be a waiver wire guy. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this guy?
Yeah, so there's a couple things I want to point out here, and we've kind of seen it here in this draft so far. We've got several people who keep taking their 3rd running back before their like 2nd or 3rd wide receiver in a 3 wide receiver full PPR league.
No.
Like that just blows my mind to me. Like you're willing to take like a bench guy that's not even like gonna see your lineup, or maybe he's like your flex, but again it's full PPR, and unless it's like a complete workhorse type guy, like why are we taking our RB3s? And like Ahrefs been he mocks with us. He's part of the tournament. He's been with us for a couple years. All of you guys, man, who are taking your RB3s before your wide receiver 2s and 3s, I just need a 2nd quarterback and a tight end before these guys. I just need to know like what the thought process is there. Like maybe I'm missing it. Like maybe I'm the dumb one and I'm missing out on something. Not calling you guys dumb or anything like that. I'm just like, I'm all for everyone's like build and their process. I just need to know
the wide receiver is going to outdo these guys, especially when you're starting 3 wide receivers.
Like early. Like these other guys, like they're not consistent, which is why they're going that late. But like we've seen, the statistics are there that these late running backs that you can get that are handcuffs to these guys when these running backs go down can be league winners that you're getting in the 8th, 9th, 10th round. Like this is when you want to be taking those
late in Zach Moss.
Take your shots there.
And he did hero RB with
beat the waiver wire. You know, I mean, it's statistically proven. So Yeah, like you want those stable of guys, and because people are just drafting wide receivers so high nowadays, you have to like be in on it. Unless you're just completely getting some crazy other value anywhere else, which I mean you can argue maybe Kincaid was, good value there. I mean, because another tight end didn't come back to him. But I mean I'm not taking Ramondre Stevenson again over like
No,
Jalen Reed. Like I'm
no
not
way. I
doing
would
it.
have took Jalen Reed all day. Like,
When I
there's
already
no
had
way.
McCaffrey and ETN, like you
Yeah,
don't
there's
like.
no
I'm
need.
okay just literally
You
drafting
didn't have to
2
draft
running backs.
another running back.
I don't even
That
need to
would,
draft. Like I'm good with those 2.
yeah,
Like I would have gave
would have
this
took
team a
one
higher
more just
score
as a
with
fleet
just
guy,
those.
but like
But
waited till
still,
like
yeah.
the 11th or
Like
12th or
grab
maybe
Nick
even the
Chubb.
13th.
That's the perfect guy to grab in this type of team. When you got CMC and you got ETN, grab Nick Chubb because you're not going to
Late.
need a running back unless one of those guys get hurt. But you're not going to need a running back for a while.
Yeah.
And if he hits, you could trade him off and get another running back and a wide receiver later. Anyway, so that's just my whole thing. And again, not to like beat, hey Trev, don't take this personal, man. I've had a couple drinks. It's late in the show. We're past an hour. I'm just, I'm feeling it now at this point. But that's just
And
my
after you
my
read
thought
so many,
process, man.
do the same thing. We're like,
Yeah,
wait,
when we're
they keep
analyzing
doing
this,
it
man,
and doing it.
I can't get behind it. So again,
No,
I'm
there's
coming
no way.
in. The guys, again, I'm not the guys I like individually. Except for Mike Williams, like he's the only one that I even
Yeah,
have
I
like a
wouldn't even
problem
pick
with
that
on
dude.
this team. I'm even okay with Ramondre, but I'm not taking 5 running backs when I have McCaffrey and ETN in my first 2 picks. That's just too much draft capital you're dedicating to that one position that is so volatile in the first place. You're already need to go with the hyper fragile build in the first place. So that's what I'm saying. A 3 wide receiver build would be a hyper fragile in a redraft. Now I'm getting all like totally nerdy, guys. I apologize, but like it's usually not that type of show. We can get nerdy on the extra point and over in the tavern and stuff. Those are our stat guys. We're here kind of just to hang out and give it to you layman's terms. But it's just, yeah, man. There's just it gets tough. So again, I like the guys on the team, no doubt. Maybe make some trades, do some stuff like that. But I had to come in on this one, man, with the C plus. Even though it has my guy CMC in there, you got Dak, you got Aaron. I don't think that wide receiver group does it, man. I don't think those guys give you so much an advantage. Like maybe CMC could make this team win just on his own back. And if Kincaid just completely smashes, but yeah, to wait for your wide receiver 2 until the 7th round in a 3 wide receiver league, I can't do it, man. And then he's a rookie at that, the 3rd wide receiver
Romo did
in that
right.
offense. Yeah, so it's tough. It's just a tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Like, who knows it'll actually play out? But with what we know now, it's just tough.
Yeah. And I'm right there with you. I mean, we were just kind of basically just went over that as 5 running backs. That's great build if you were starting 3 running backs. You know what I mean? Or something.
Yeah, right.
We're starting 3 wide receivers and taking, your second in the 8th and 9th there. You're finally getting your 3 wide receivers in the 9th round. I just don't see that being a recipe for success in any kind of way. Not to beat a dead
Yeah,
horse.
best ball. I won 5 by the 8th.
The guys are all great. I like Prescott. I like Rodgers where you take them. I like Pittman.
Okay
I like all the dudes. Ramondre Stevenson
Literally.
I even like, but I wouldn't pick him for you.
Mike Williams, the only guy that's just on my do not draft list.
Yeah,
Everyone
exactly.
else
I
on
wouldn't
this
touch
team,
that
I
guy.
will and have drafted
Yeah,
so far.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'll even look at Luke Musgrave. It's a late tight end.
Tight end 2. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm
Attached
right
to the
there
guy who
with
just
that. I'm
got
just a
paid?
C. I'm not going to give you a C plus or anything else. It's just
It's C plus because of McCaffrey, bro. Like it's still McCaffrey.
yeah.
Like he outscored
Just
like
because
even
of the
Josh
build
Allen.
altogether. I just can't do it.
Okay. All right.
He
Anyway,
messed up.
let's move on.
having
We're already
McCaffrey.
past an hour. My bad. I took a lot of time
his
on
head.
that one.
It went to his head with having McCaffrey. So let's go. FLG RJ. That's I think Joe Reed.
Flag RJ. That's what we
Flag
call
RJ.
our boy RJ. Smoking to Kako in there here real quick though. He's always here, man. So I got to stop the show for him.
You're right.
He says, "How comfortable would you feel with a Najee Warren or Pollard as your RB1? I'm in a 12-team PPR, 2 wide receiver, or 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. I think in a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, I don't think I'm waiting that long for my RB1. Again, I think I've kind of mentioned a couple times, if you were here earlier, Smokey, like Demont is like the last like RB1, like borderline type guy where I feel comfortable, like, in the 6th. In a 1 QB, taking him as my RB1 as long as I'm stacked at wide receiver and I have that elite tight end, my elite 1Z positions, tight end and quarterback out of the way. So I think that's a little too far. That's taking 0 RB like to the extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see the story where you can get away with it, with our Najee with Arthur Smith, and he's getting the I guess Tyler Algier role, and Warren maybe gets the Bijan role if you look at it like that. And I'm more of a Spears guy over Pollard, as you can see in this draft here. Took Spears, you know, who actually I took ahead of Pollard by about 9 picks. So I'm personally not comfortable with it. What about you, Frank?
I'm not comfortable with Warren or Najee. I think I would pick Najee
As
over
your
Warren.
RB1.
Yeah, and if I had to, I would pick Najee over Warren. Warren still didn't take the spot last year, and which is funny because in this draft you took Warren, then Najee went right after him. So I didn't see him take over the spot last year, and I don't see them that he's going to do it this year.
Full
I do.
PPR. I like the passing back out of those two backfields.
I do like Spears though, and you took Chase Brown as well in this draft. That's who I would be looking for in his type of build, since he's trying to just go hero RB to the extreme, as you mentioned, taking Najee, Warren, and Pollard. So I definitely have to sneak in Chase Brown and some other guys like that late because that's who's going to be available to him, right? Who else is going to be coming up with? And maybe a Jaleel McLaughlin.
That's who I also got on my team.
You're
reading off my team.
I'm reading off your team because those are the guys that you want to take late and look for in that type of situation. If you're waiting to get your RB1 that late, right? And looking at choices like Najee and Warren, because you're gonna have to stack that up later on, right?
Yeah.
At some point. So good luck to you if you do that.
He says he went CD, Debo, Waddle, Hurts, Kincaid, and then an RB. So that's where, to me, because that tier is so flat in the second round, that's where I like taking that running back. So usually on that turn, you're going to get like a Devon A. Chain, maybe like an Isaiah Pacheco. So if that's like CD, Pacheco, or CD, A-Chan, or you want to go A-Chan if you're going to target Waddle. So maybe like Pacheco is the guy there. Maybe Derrick Henry falls to that spot as well. But that's why I like kind of taking that running back there in the second.
I'm done with
and
Derrick
then
Henry. He's too old now.
Okay, that's all right. He's a freaking eater. He's like a LeBron. We're all good.
We'll
but yeah, so to me, I'm taking, if you're going CD, taking a running back there. Obviously, you're at the 1 or 2 spot, 101, 102 if you're taking CD. So when it comes back around, yeah, you're gonna get that like Pacheco. Again, this is Superflex, but you're gonna get like that. Even Kyron. Travis Etienne. So I know you probably take Kyron there. So CD, Kyron, Waddle, Hurts, Kincaid. And then now you don't have to even take that running back there. You can grab another wide receiver and then start grabbing those RB2s with some upside there. So that's my preferred type of bill out of the, one of those top 3
hero
spots
RB. There. Basically hero RB.
Hero RB. Yeah. It's just my preferred bill overall. So yeah. Of course, bro. That's why we're here, man. Appreciate you. Man. All right. So let's move on. I think you were about to read off Flag RJ. Go ahead. We'll get out of here.
Okay. So he starts off with Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow stack here, Drake London, Derrick Henry, and then he takes McBride. Then he takes his QB2 in Stafford. I like the Jaden Reed here, Xavier Woodley, another nice pick here. So he gets up with 4 wide receivers there, just one hero RB that we were just talking about, and Derrick Henry. And then he starts smashing some wide receivers in Zamir White, Devin Singletary. It's just a nice pickup slate. Devin Singletary over there starting in New York. We're not so sure if he's going to keep the job, but he's got it for now. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. Those guys, you guys used to be on the same team last year. Let's see how they fare now that they're separated. We got Rico Dowdle late, who's again some guy RB2 over there at Dallas, and then it takes a flyer in Xavier Legette. So what's your number on this one?
All right. So I like how we started with this build. I mean, you guys all know I'm like one of the biggest Chase Burrow fans out there. I have Chase almost as like my wide receiver 1 this year. I mean, it doesn't quite line up, but I don't think we've even seen the ceiling of Jamar Chase yet. He's been like a top 3, type wide receiver. We'll see that I think next year once Higgins is gone, and obviously even keep Joe Burrow healthy. But I really like this start. And again, this is what we're kind of talking about, right? You get your quarterback in here, you get your 2 wide receivers, you go with that anchor kind of running back here. You get your elite, kind of onesie position there in Trey McBride, and you have somewhat of an elite, top guy with that, you know, stack with Chase. You can argue maybe Murray has a little more upside than Burrow, but is what it is. He comes back, he sees the potential fall off with Stafford, but he doesn't start grabbing running backs here. He still fills out his wide receiver room through the flex and then starts grabbing those running backs, the Zamir Whites, the Devin Singletaries, grabs a couple more shots with Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy here, and then grabs his wide running back forward Dowdle, and then a lot of ticket Leggett. So I like this build. Really good build to me. I have this as like, I mean, I hate to say it only because it's Zamir White, so it falls out of the A range for me. So maybe like A minus, like B plus. I'd have to put it like at that 89.75, maybe like 90.1 is kind of where I'm at, on this team just because of that Zamir White pick. Again, I would have went Jalen Warren, which is who I picked right after Zamir White. And then I think that, is probably like in the 92 range for me.
See, I don't mind the Zamir White pick. I like it. The tight end is where I thought maybe he could have just took another wide receiver, but I mean he is a wide receiver one per in other essence because these 5 tight ends this year, which is funny to say now. There's 5. There used to be just one, and then it became 2, 3.
Andrews,
and Andrews and Porter later on, and now we got Kincaid and McBride as well, and so now we actually got top 5 tight ends. It's nice. I mean, it's a good build. I give him a B plus, man. I don't mind the Zamir White. I like Devin Secretary. I like where he's taking these guys because he rounded out with his chase. The stack I really like. Drake London and then Jaden Reed and Xavier Worthy. Looking good. I mean, Cortland Sutton, let's see what happens over here at Denver. How he turns out now that Judy's gone. Again, Judy's at a new team with Cleveland. Hopefully he fares well over there with help me out. What's the other wide receiver? Cooper,
Amari Cooper,
and Deshaun Watson. Let's see how he works out.
That's always really.
Yeah, it's not a bad group over there. Rico Dowdle late, which is nice little sneaky pick, and they really get. Yeah, this is how you do a build. I like it. I like it. I like the teams. I like the players on here. B plus again, just not getting the A out of it. Just missing something in there, but.
Yeah, like a little bit of like true more upside or just clear advantage, but it's just a nice, just solid team. If everybody does their job, this is like a top 3 team. Yeah. Like they don't have to do anything like super special. Just be who they are, where you drafted them, and it's gonna be decent.
Yeah, see, the Devin Singletary one is the one probably where I would have fell off instead of Zamir White because Singletary may be just losing his jobs to some of these rookies over here, anyways.
And Tyler Tracy can't pass block yet, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Devin Singletary's never lost a job wherever he's went. He's taken the job. He took it from Damian Pierce. He took it from Zach Moss in Buffalo. He keeps getting traded, so I don't know. Like they don't want him. What the deal
is with it? What the deal is? Why is he not holding down the job?
But like when he goes somewhere, he wins the job. Like he's good enough for 1 year. He's like he can hold you over. Yeah. So I think it's nice for what is he? RB3, RB4. It's a decent pick.
He reminds me of our buddy that's retired now. I can't think of his name. That running back. He was even looking at trying to have Dallas pick him up. Oh, I can't think of his name. But every time he was worth the start, he was like, "Oh, put him in your lineup now this week. He's going to go off, and that's it. You got to get 2-3 weeks out of him, and he was done." Remember what's his name? Leonard Fournette. Oh, Lenny.
Oh, and
he's still trying to get back in. He's still trying to get back in the league, anyways. But anyways,
went to Tampa. Ahead. Yeah. So Brian Gianscoli, we're not doing my team, then we'll get out of here.
Yeah.
As we get going here. So I keep calling him Brian. His name's Brandon. It's Brandon Gianscoli. So Brandon's here. He goes Justin Jefferson here in the 12th spot, followed by Bijan Robinson. So passes on the quarterbacks, given he's at the end of the draft, tries to gain advantage somewhere else, similar to the build I was doing out of 11. Then he goes Tua and Trevor Lawrence as his QB2s. Good thing he did, because I probably would have went Trevor there had he not. Amari Cooper, followed by T. Higgins to get his 3 wide receivers and still only 1 running back. and his 2 quarterbacks. Then he grabs his RB2 and Alvin Kamara, which was a nice pick there. He goes Hollywood Brown as his flex or wide receiver 4. Gets his RB3, Najee Harris, grabs his tight end and Brock Bowers, followed by QB3, where a guy on the stream on Friday was loving his Daniel Jones pick. Thought it was a disgrace that he stayed on the board even this long. Behind
Yeah.
it might have been a classic Mike in disguise. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, so he goes
Blasphemy.
Daniel Jones. Yeah, he goes Daniel Jones there as the QB3, followed by Jordan Palmer, which was a great pick here. Brandon Cooks, and then who I was talking about earlier, and Ty Chandler. We did talk about this team a little bit on Friday, but Frank, what do you think about Brandon's team? Not Brian, but Brandon.
I like it. I like the build that he has here with Justin Jefferson, Bijan, and Tua. You know, he gets the color up top, then he goes right back and gets Trevor Lawrence to sew up his QBs. You know, he keeps in mind that it's a 3 wide receiver, so he goes for Cooper and Higgins to round out his 3 wide receivers. I like that. I like where he got Kamara in the 7th, a good RB2 this year, and it's a good spot for him. Hollywood Brown upside there. Najee again, just sharing room with Warren over there. Takes a shot at Brock Bowers here as a tight end. I don't really care for Daniel Jones. I could live with or without that dude in that spot. I do like Palmer, last year's guy here. I think his stock is rising. Brandon Cooks in Dallas, a decent pick. Not nothing flashy there. And Ty Chandler late here, another decent pick, just nothing flashy there.
Jerry Jeudy hopes to be Brandon Cooks this year,
right? Yeah, exactly. Let's see what happens over there. But
Jerry Jeudy could just be Brandon Cooks of last year. Like, I'd be happy with.
It'd be good with that, right?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I just give him a solid B plus range. You know, I'm leaning more towards like the 87, 88 range on this guy.
Nice.
I do like the build. I like that he's he rounded out the wide receivers where he should. I just maybe that Daniel Jones pick didn't have to be there.
Yeah.
I don't know what I like Palmer though. I do like and Chandler. It just there's just not much to say with Ty Chandler. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Brandon was kind of following me in my build, or I was following him, if you will, as we first started, and then he kind of panicked before I did at quarterback, and I stayed the course, as you can see. Was able to fill out my wide receiver room and get my elite onesie, kind of the last guy in that tier that has some potential upside at the position in Pitts. And then I was able to still get Gino, which I don't think is really too far off from where Trevor's kind of at. Maybe their ceilings aren't as high. But I think just on average,
I wouldn't have took a shot at Pitts though. I'm done with that guy. He already burned us twice. This is his year again. I want to see it.
He finally has a quarterback this year, and he did set
every year.
He did have a 1,000-yard receiving season his rookie year when he was with Matt Ryan. He had nobody. Who was the quarterback in Atlanta last year? Can you name me the starting quarterbacks in Atlanta last year?
No.
With an S, quarterbacks. Okay, I'll wait. So that's why. But we know who Kyle Pitts is. So that's why. Last time he had an actual competent quarterback in Matt Ryan, he had over 1,000 yards receiving. So the potential's there, the talent's there. New coaching staff. It's not Smith anymore. So that's why I'll take it. Again, we're not supposed to be talking about my team, but talking about Brandon's team here.
We're just talking about a specific guy.
Kind of shifted over. But because they were close comparisons, and we're both kind of trying to do the same thing, being at the end of the draft, we have to try to find advantages somewhere else. So to me, I think that's where Brandon kind of panicked, whereas I tried to stay the course and wait on that QB2. Because if I took my QB2, look how many QB2s that everybody else took. My QB2s aren't really matching. But if I can have my other positional players be a better room than, especially that wide receiver room that we're starting 3, potentially 4 of them, if I can have one of the best wide receiver rooms and not be too far behind on quarterback, and I have one of the elite, top potential RB1 overall in Brees, like that's the kind of upside that you're trying to shoot for at the back end of a draft to me. So I think both Brandon and I did similar type builds. Maybe his was a little more conservative, grabbing that second quarterback a little early. He did get that teardrop, but again, I would have probably done the same thing had he let Trevor pass, but because he didn't, I was able to just kind of wait because I'm not going to take my chance there with Jaden Daniels that early. I maybe could have went Stafford over Pitts, but I couldn't pass up on the potential tight end advantage there as well too. So yeah. So otherwise, I mean, I like his picks. I did talk about this team on Friday as well. So I came in and I still gave this team that kind of B type range just because I'm not the biggest Brock Bowers fan. And not the biggest Hollywood Brown fan or really Najee. So kind of like those picks right in there. And that section kind of is what dropped it down for me. But I think you finished off pretty strong. I don't mind Daniel Jones here that late as your QB3, Jordan Palmer, Cooks, and Chandler. I just think of what I mentioned on Friday's show was I just wish you would have took more of like lotto ticket instead of, I mean, if you're going to take someone like Jordan Palmer, I mean, I guess you could say he's kind of like a lotto ticket. But like instead of like Brandon Cooks, like get somebody else that could be a potential, lotto ticket there, like a Ricky Pearsall or someone like that, Xavier Legette. You could take a chance on one of these guys who could potentially either be in a better high scoring offense or maybe have some better name recognition, being like a first round pick that you could trade off
Yeah.
In season. So
And I agree
so
with
that's
you
it.
there. But I do like Hollywood Brown. I like Najee and I like Brock Bowers. On the other hand, I don't care for Jones. I do like Palmer. Cooks is decent there. But again, like you were mentioning, Ty Chandler, I would have been much happier with Ricky Pearsall, Josh Downs, Dontavian Wicks, Jalen Polk, Xavier Legette, any one of those guys instead of Chandler there. Again, I'm with you on this. I see where you guys are, going. Like you said, wide receiver, running back, quarterback, and then he kind of, panics, or as you said, takes his tight end, or
Had to throw a little shade there.
yeah, or because he could have ended up with Waddle right there. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he skipped on
That's what I
Waddle to
mean. I
take
was glad he
Lawrence,
passed on Waddle.
and
Yeah,
I
I'll
would
take
I would have
Waddle
been
over
happy
Lawrence.
with Waddle instead of Lawrence. I would have waited one more round and just took whatever was coming back with me on that.
Yeah, he could have had the Tua
Um,
Waddle stack. I couldn't believe he passed
yeah,
on it.
yeah, being right next to it, like literally, that's a bad move right there. You
Yeah.
lost your A right there. I think his best pick was Kamara there in the 7th.
Yeah,
I
that's what we
think
were
that's
talking about
that's a
too on
sweet
Friday.
spot. That's a sweet spot for his RB2. That's going to be a really good one, decent one. Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, flip a coin with those two guys that you guys ended up picking back to back. Anyways, I mean that's why they're literally next to each other. It's like same dude. I don't think there's a difference right there. Brock Bowers, where he took some at, I don't mind. I think that's a good chance at a tight end there. I would have probably backed him up though, just because he's a rookie. But I mean, he's probably going to get all the looks over there in Las Vegas, depending on who's actually throwing the ball, whatever happens. I would have skipped on Daniel Jones and went with another wide receiver there or something else. Um, and then again, a lottery pick at the end there instead of Ty Chandler. So just a solid
Or could
B,
have
but
went
high B.
Chandler and then Sticky Ricky, like instead of Cooks. Like you could have just went Chandler and then one of those guys instead.
Yeah. That's why it's still B plus, high B plus area on this guy. And that does it for tonight.
There it
Look
is.
at the grades.
Got Mitchell Rose, although it was like 10 minutes ago, said
Yeah.
great stuff, guys. So we appreciate that. That's when I might have been going off on my total nerd stats over there for a second. Who knows? If you guys like more of that, we could bring that more to the show if you guys want. But we try to just keep it more chill, laid back. Like we'll spit out those statty takes. I mean, that's where a lot of
If
our
you
takes
need it.
come from anyway. We know
Yeah.
them. We just don't want to just anybody could go read off a stat sheet. We want to give you guys what we're feeling. Fantasy is about what you feel. Like a lot of it's what you feel. The numbers are just numbers. That's past data. Can't predict the future. You got to have that feel for it though. So that's what we're here for.
That's what I
All
say.
right,
They need to pass the eye test. I'm waiting for preseason to look at these rookies. And really,
Does he pop off the screen? Right.
Yeah, exactly. I start looking when they finally get to the NFL. All this hogwash is college and this and that. You see
It's a
these
good
guys
barometer, but baseline.
it gives you a good gauge of where they're going to be at. But at the end of the day, they got to pass.
But even the
mustard
people who
in
get
the
paid
NFL.
millions still drafted Jamarcus Russell. I mean, they still did.
Exactly. They got to make it. They got to pass the mustard, man. They got to get over here, get in the NFL, and actually play. And let's see if you
And
actually
Zach
can
Wilson.
do it
Like,
or
these
not.
guys get paid millions and
Right?
still miss. So. All right.
We're talking
So yeah.
fantasy.
So anyway, it's getting late, guys. It's getting late. So all right, man. We'll get out of here. Before we do though, we do want to tell you a little bit about, and we appreciate that, Mitchell Rose. Hopefully you're subscribed to us. If you're already subscribed, hit that like button. Helps us out just as much as a subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. So make sure you go do that. And while you're subscribing to us, make sure you jump in the description as well and subscribe to our affiliate channels, man. We got 2 new guys coming with us that have joined us this off season. Our boy Kinder Vanderbilt with the Fantasy Football Tavern. So if you're looking to enjoy some hot takes and cold beers, be sure to tune in to Kindle with the Fantasy Football Tavern. Very analytical, dynasty based typically. Loves breaking down, getting into mock drafts, kind of like we did here tonight. You can go check him out with me on last Friday's show. And also had Phil with us over there from the Extra Point. So as you guys know, everyone loves scoring touchdowns, but you got to come out and kick that extra point. So tune in with the Extra Point with Phil Ruskin live on Thursdays. And because that extra point could be the difference between a win and a loss. So yeah, man, other than that, Frank, you got anything else? We got to wish our boy Dustin a happy birthday.
Oh, that's right. Happy birthday, Dak.
Should we gave you 1 second, Dustin, 1 second. But happy birthday to you, bro. We already told him in text, so we're all good.
Yeah.
We should have probably led the show off with that, but that's all right. I'll be pissed if you guys start a show with me not on here, and it's my birthday, and you guys don't say anything about happy birthday to me because you know I'll be watching. I don't know if he's watching. We'll see. I know he's watching. I know he's watching.
This lady has still got the phone on the side.
Yeah,
talking about,
we'll see.
I gotta see what's going on, man.
I gotta know what's going on. This is my baby, man. I love this thing.
Can't help it.
So yeah, man. So again, make sure you guys go throw a sub their way, man. They're working hard, doing a lot of stuff. A great addition here to the Get Right Fantasy Network. So we appreciate you guys. Again, mock draft tournament is going down. If you guys are interested, make sure you get into the private sleeper channel. Find the Get Right Fantasy mock draft tournament of champions thread. Is what I was trying to say. You'll see the new lobbies open for next week. We still have maybe 2 or 3 spots left for this week. So 48 different drafters that we have sitting, waiting around. Well, 12 of them are drafted already tonight. We have 36 more in the rest of the week. And then we'll open up to another 48 next week. We're trying to find the best 12 every week to eventually find just the best 12 overall that are going to drop into this tournament. Yeah. So make sure you guys get in. Have any questions, just hit us up. Other than that,
and come back Wednesday. Other than that, come back Wednesday because we're going to be on doing a best ball before
Best Ball Mania 5.
It'll be the last best ball before any
$25 buy-in, 1.5 million in first place.
Check it out. Come back.
We'll be here.
That'll be nice. Wednesday.
We'll be here for sure. All right, man. So I'm glad you had something else this time because I always say unless there's anything else,
there's something else.
You had something.
One last one.
That was great. That was great. So we need more of Frank. Keep bringing it. All right, man. So from all of us over here at Get Right, man, for Dustin, for Classic Mike, again, happy birthday to his lady who had a birthday over the weekend.
Oh, there you go.
That's why he wasn't here with us on Friday. He'll be back this Friday. Of course, for Dustin, happy birthday. For Tycoon, our newest addition, he'll be on here soon, I'm sure. Again, our 2 new guys, Kendall and Phil, appreciate what you guys have brought to the channel. Of course, for my boy here, Mr. Fish and Frank, you guys all know me as Rasta. Get Right Fantasy Network, man. We're out of here. Frank, you ready to cue up that outro, man? You
Peace out.
Right fantasy is the play. Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go